Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur, and a story that I had heard about a couple days too late, but I wanted to report on it anyway, because it still highlights why there's a huge risk factor with driving for Uber and Lyft, is that a former NFL football player named Michael Oher took an Uber while he was really intoxicated. And I guess during that trip, there was an altercation, and he ended up allegedly beating up or assaulting the Uber driver, where he beat him up, he kicked him, he punched him, he bit him, he called him homophobic slurs, he spit on him, allegedly. And of course, obviously the driver's now suing, and I think he's suing both the football player and Uber. The football player for doing the thing in the first place, and Uber because Uber does not have any background check with passengers, and that's always been the case. Now, having just flown cross country, some people might be saying with Uber, well, with customers, why is Uber obligated to make sure the customers are golden? Why should they background check them and stuff? The drivers are the ones who are getting paid. They're the ones who shouldn't be harming the customers. And I'm not saying that's not true. But having flown cross country, of course, it dawns on me that you go through a lot of security. Way more security than you really need to be honest. And they're checking for any sort of hint that you could be a danger. Coming back into the country, when I put in my passport, even though I have never committed a crime, my information was crossed out with an X because it was because my last name was Rodriguez, and the system flagged me for potentially being an illegal immigrant. Now, of course, once I got through, and it didn't take too long to clear that up. But the bottom line is there is a lot of security because the airlines don't want other people to be harmed. It's not good business for them, and it's also just you don't want anyone else to be harmed. The customers who are flying the planes, they are not the pilots. And of course they did their background check on the pilots, but they want to make sure the people flying the planes aren't going to potentially do something stupid. Now, Uber doesn't need to go as far as the TSA does, but things like this show that they need to go do just a little. Just a little. And if they're not going to do background checks on the people who ride the service, they need to allow the drivers to carry weapons and dash cams. And whether it be pepper spray or a firearm or heck, even a BB shooter. If you just have a pellet shooter, that's usually enough to scare off whoever's going to attack you without having to actually fire it. And even if you have to fire it at a close range, it will hurt. It will hurt very much. So, this is probably the only video I'm going to make where my source is ESPN. But I've linked to the article below, and I'll keep you up to date on what happens with this because, of course, it's always news when a regular customer assaults an Uber driver. It's especially news when someone who's even a little bit famous assaults an Uber driver, especially since this guy apparently has had a history of picking fights with cab drivers and people at the bar. So that's stuff that's not exactly difficult to find out. And, so yeah, it's interesting. And now, of course, I'm going to pass the question to you guys, as I always do. What do you think of the news story? And do you think this more or less proves that Uber should be more proactive in screening the people that they let ride for the service? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member or buying some swag from the Great Media Universe store. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.